Good morning. I feel a little bit awkward recording this video, which is precisely why I'm doing it. This was Nadia's suggestion when I asked for feedback for how can we improve the excellence program. And for those of you who can't make our Life Labs group coaching calls, the focus sheets are great, she said, though we would like a little bit more of your energy and your essence. So it would be great if you could record a little video sharing with us some bit of wisdom. So that's my intention today. The Excellence Program is a traditional coaching program in that it shines the spotlight on you and the structure of how you be you and how you shine brilliantly in the world. And that is certainly an area where I am most comfortable with the spotlight on you. So this element, me recording a video of me doing my work, is introducing more of a mentoring component. Me sharing the structure of how I do me, and yeah, it will add a new dynamic to the program, and I'm open to your feedback if it resonates, if you enjoy it, if it's supportive for you. My intention for this is to just share with you my learnings for the week that just passed, some bit of wisdom or insight that I feel may assist or support you in any way as I do my work. So this morning I want to share with you a story about a friend I saw last week who I hadn't seen in a while. And she was sharing with me a story of something that was going on in her life in work. And I have a Metapart installed that looks at structure. So I'm listening to a story and a part of me is tracking back patterns from stories. And I realized that in every story I've ever heard her tell, she portrays herself in a certain role, in a particular light. Let's call it the innocent one. That's the role that she takes. And the other person, whoever that person might be, is some sort of villain or bad guy. Never in words, right? Just this is the structure of the roles. And I noticed myself deviate from my center. So my center is gratitude. And if I'm in gratitude, I feel centered and steady, grounded. Any deviation from that, I know I've slipped into judgment, and that is precisely what had happened. So I had asked myself, what's the accusation I seek to make of her, using that beautiful formula that helps us see us better. I asked myself, what is it that I am seeing in her? And the response was, she's so attached to this one role, to only being, to showing up in this one way, being in this one way. And so, of course, then, how's that true of me? Right? Anything that we're seeing in another, and unless it's if it causes any sort of deviation from our centered state, right? I noticed myself deviate into annoyance, and so I knew that there was something in that for me, some element of reflection on me. And so we only have to ask the question, and our unconscious will come up with the answer, even if our conscious mind doesn't know it. So I asked myself, how is that true of me? Where is that true of me? And I remembered some days prior, my partner had sent me an email with a link to an X-rated video that he had asked me to watch and to perform the acts in this video. a bit awkward talking about this, but yes. So, and I was I felt very uncomfortable watching this video, like hugely triggered. And of course, I asked, what is the accusation? And there were a number of things that came up. It was everything from it's fake and they're being exploited. And one of the ones though was it's not pure or chaste, something along the lines of that story. And so I realized that I had some attachment to being in this particular way. And anytime we we do that, we limit ourselves. So part of me sharing this story with you is for you to understand that the constructs of our identity are just that, constructs. Stories that we tell, or for roles that we find ourselves more comfortable in, whether that role might be the rescuer or the helper. I could share another story about being in the helper role, or how I had attachment to that role before I released it and collapsed it. And so just this awareness of what are the roles that we find ourselves gravitating towards, and what are the roles that we find ourselves resistant to. And the presupposition, I suppose, that underpins all of this is we are all things. We are all things. We're multifaceted beings. We're all things. So, bringing it back to my friend, I was able to thank her for helping me see me even more clearly. And as you move through the week ahead, I invite you to consider, how is it that you are allowing yourself to show up as the fullness of you. I'll see you next week on next week's episode. I think I'm going to call this segment Divya's Discoveries. I'm open to your feedback as always. How can we improve this, and how can I better support you as we learn together? Have a brilliant week.